to Wellington News. I'm David.
And I'm Stephanie. In today's stories, a new crime wave is sweeping over the country in a form of woolen graffiti. Scientists have invented an invisibility cloak. We helped them find it. And in the latest, weather around the country. But first, a story that will turn your world upside down.
If you think the world is getting more and more topsy-turvy, it turns out you're right. Builders in Germany have put an upside-down building. Before you think they have read the plans upside down, they did it on purpose. The wacky abode was built as a tourist attraction as well as being a comment on the state of the world. The house is 23 feet tall and rests on its roof. It has steel beams in the attic. Inside the house there are beds screwed into the ceiling, upside-down wardrobes, an upside-down kitchen, and even an upturned bathroom, though it's not known if anyone has tried to have a bath in it or go to the toilet. Normally a house like this would take 3 weeks to build. This one took over 4 months because the workers kept getting confused by the strange angles of the walls. Many tourists visiting the house complain of feeling sick and dizzy after just a few minutes inside. We now cross over to our reporter, Hector, who is inside the house. How are you feeling, Hector?
Thanks, David. I'm here with the owner of the house, Squidring, and I'm feeling scared. So what made you decide to build this upside-down house?
I just think it would be cool.
What comment do you feel the house makes about the state of the world?
That it's different than the other houses.
What are some of the challenges of living in a house where everything's upside down?
It's hard to grab stuff.
What's your favourite room?
The toilet.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Hector for Wellington News. Back to you, David, in the studio.
Thanks, Hector. Even watching that makes me feel dizzy. And now for a story that is truly out of sight. Look at Harry Potter. The world of science is catching up to the world of magic. Scientists in Europe have created a 3D invisibility cloak which can hide objects by bending light waves. It has been found that light can be controlled using special crystals that makes objects disappear. So far, scientists have made small objects such as coins disappear, but hope that it won't be long before they are hiding cars, planes, and even people. People have always dreamed of making themselves invisible. One top scientist says the possibilities are endless, and we are very excited. However, since inventing the invisibility cloak, the scientists have been having trouble finding it. As soon as we put it down somewhere, it just disappears, the inventor of the cloak said. It appears they are having trouble finding other things too, like their lunch, which they think might be underneath the cloak. What will this invention actually be used for? Hoping to see through the reasons behind the invisibility cloak, here is our on-the-spot reporter, Egbert, with more information on the story.
Hello, I'm Egbert, and with me today is Professor Donald, one of the scientists behind the invisibility cloak. Hi there, and thanks for joining us today. What made you want to invent the invisibility cloak?
Well, I'd seen it on a TV program, and I thought that it would be interesting to make, and so I just went for it.
Can you show me how the invisibility cloak works?
Sure. You hold it up, and then you just disappear. And here I am again.
What do you hope the cloak will be used for?
We hope to make it hide large objects, not just small objects.
Does this cloak scare you?
Not really, because I was the one that invented it.
Well, that makes things very clear. Thanks for joining us, and we're out of time. Back time over to you, David, in the studio.
Thanks, Egbert. And now, how's this for an interesting yarn? A new wave of graffiti crime is covering the country thanks to an underground gang known as the Midnight Knitters. These wool-waving criminals are covering tree branches and lampposts with small jerseys and scarves under the cover of darkness. Police say the knitted activities of the gang are illegal because their woolly crimes are being done on public property without permission. The popularity of woolen graffiti is growing, and more public objects are being wrapped up every night. But the problem is growing. Police say and warn that if the midnight knitters aren't caught soon, every tree, lamppost and traffic light in the country will be warmly dressed against the cold. The problem is spinning out of control. They are a close-knit group of dyed-in-the-wool criminals. We are stitching together a case, but it's not seamless. There is no real pattern to the crimes. A police spokesman said today, so far the criminal knitters have escaped arrest and continue to pull the wool over the eyes of both the public and the police. We now go to a secret location with our investigative reporter Jimmy, who has an exclusive interview with one of the Midnight Knitters gang.
Thanks, David. I'm Jimmy, and joining me in this top secret location is a member of the Midnight Knitters gang. Hello, H-Dog, and thanks for joining us. What led you into the dark underworld of knitted graffiti?
My granny taught me to knit.
Do you see yourself as a criminal? Why or why not?
No, I don't know anyone.
Apart from trees, lampposts, and traffic lights, what else would you like to graffiti with your woolens?
Houses and letterboxes.
How do you get your materials without getting caught?
I get my granny to go into the knitting store and get it for me.
Thanks for your time, H-Dog of the Midnight Knitters gang. We now go over to Emma and Amy with the weather update.
Thank you, Jimmy, and good evening, New Zealand. Let's have a look at tomorrow's weather. Starting in the far north in Kaitaia, look out for some pretty flash flooding and raindrops as big as your head. If you're going outside, wear a hat. Moving down to Auckland, there will be a mix of fair conditions and unfair conditions, but those are the conditions and you'll just have to accept them. There will be no weather at all for the Bay of Plenty. It's taken a short holiday but is expected to be back for the weekend. In Napier and Hastings, the weather will sometimes be changeable and sometimes not. We really have no idea what will happen there. In Taranaki, a mild depression brings with it a very dull day and no highlights at all. It'll be overcast and gloomy all morning, but things should cheer up by the evening, so don't worry, everything will be fine. Wellington will have another capital day. There will be no wind at all, and the day conditions will be so pleasant they will actually be extreme. In the top of the South Island, Kaikoura can expect to have a good day, meeting friends for lunch, going for a swim and reading the newspapers, but try to stay indoors as the weather will just be terrible. A real mix for Christchurch, which will have some unreasonable rainfall, some sensible wind, moderate thunderstorms, and some of very angry snow. And in the lower south, Dunedin will be frosty, cold, and unfriendly until late morning. Then the sun will pop over for a visit, and everybody likes the sun. That's all from me. Remember, if it's raining outside, that's the weather for you. Good night, New Zealand. Now it's back to the news desk with David and Stephanie.
Thanks, Emma and Amy. Well, that's all we have time for.
We hope you've enjoyed this evening's broadcast.
Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Until then, I'm David.
And I'm Stephanie. For Windy Wellington News.
Goodbye, Inohora.
Roll the camera. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman.
Scene 1, take 1. Scene 1, take 2. Take 2.